Three, two, one. Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Town. And unbelievably excited today, I have a great tech co-founder and partner. His name is Mark Johnson. He runs Michigan Software Labs, and he also is a contributor in the Forbes Tech Council as well as Fast Company. So it's great to have you on the show, Mark.
Hey, Michael, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. You have an amazing background. Like everybody can learn. Like I've always said to myself, how do I get on these right? How do I write? How do I do this
Yeah,
stuff? I mean, there's probably that's probably like another show. We should do another show on that.
yeah,
But yeah, so you head up Michigan Software Labs. You've been doing it for gosh, almost 15 years. So that's amazing. So what I'd love to learn first is the superhero backstory. So you've been doing your company for a while. How did you get to Michigan Software Labs? Like, how did that happen? What's your superhero backstory?
yeah. So this is back in the early days of the iPhone. So you're going to have to kind of rewind in your mind to, when the iPhone was new. But my wife had an idea. She really wanted to listen to the radio while she went on runs, and
Nice.
she'd run around, the neighborhood, and we've got a lake nearby. And so she just asked me one day, honey, will you build me an app that can play the radio? And I didn't know how to build apps, but
Napster.
I went
Built
to
Napster.
yeah, just build an app. But went to Barnes and Noble and bought the Dummies book for iPhone programming, and was able to over 6 months learn how to develop an app for iOS. And then Josh, who's now our managing partner and co-founder, built the Android version, and he built it in like a day because he was a professional programmer.
Right.
And we were able to launch it with the local station, and we had about 100,000 weekly listeners. So it was really
Wow.
cool to be able to kind of launch a company by accident through the donation of the app.
That's amazing. So that's your backstory. So you started the company based on that. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got a team here, about almost 50 of us now,
Wow.
developing software, designing software, and getting to serve clients around the globe.
Yeah, so in terms of the company, so your company, Michigan Software Labs, like what's the focus, right? So what's your elevator pitch? Like if you're talking to an executive in the elevator, what's your elevator pitch? What's your value proposition?
Yeah, a lot of times what we're hearing is there's a lot of tech anxiety right now with executives, especially C-level, in terms of they've got a lot of demands, they've got to grow the top line, and they've got to improve the bottom line. And so they're wanting to have software and tools that can be enabled to do that. And so
Hmm.
we're kind of assigned that problem of help us resolve this, help us grow this, and really create custom software solutions. It is similar to the Pareto principle, though, where you've got, 80% is going to be off the shelf. That's not going to differentiate your company. And then 20% is really going to be those custom tools that are going to allow your company to scale. And so getting to work with a lot of global brands and, big companies that are ready to grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I've been involved in software development. So before I started my company, I worked at software development firms, and I'm always curious, like, what's really the differentiation? Like, what do you focus, like, what's the focus? Like, what do you really focus on in terms of the things you build? And are there any particular industries or domains or things that you really are crushing it or have crushed it over the years? I mean, 50 people, I mean, just for everybody listening, 50 people for a custom software development firm, that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty sizable. I mean, a lot of them can't get past like teens or 20s. So, hats off to you. So what do you focus in on?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we were able to do is apply what we learned in one industry to the next. And so once you learn about one industry, you're able to say, hey, this is what we've learned over here, and we can apply it to the next one. And people just want to work with trusted partners. So we like to call ourselves more of a digital product partner, that we're coming alongside them. We're behind the scenes a lot of times. We don't want our name to really be, known. But inside the client, we want them to feel like they're supported, and they're getting what they need from us. And so, yeah, we've worked on different projects in, healthcare, financial technology, logistics, and supply chain, and also B2C and B2B. And so a lot of the technology now is related to, it starts maybe with an idea, an executive has an idea for an app, or they might just have a problem, and they can bring us either. You know, we've had things, you know, handed to us on napkins that are, you know, hey, I've jotted this down. This is my app idea. And then we've had, you know, other times where it's just we're at a lunch meeting in their city, and they say, all right, let me lay out my problems right now. Here's what I'm up against. You know, can you tell me what you've learned in another industry of what they've done in custom software development to help me get to, you know, what I need to do?
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's dig in a little bit to the Forbes Technology Council and Fast Company. So you've been doing that for a while. I mean, is that so you're writing for them, obviously giving
Mhm.
value. Are you getting like a lot of lead flow from that too? Like, is there a lot of like opportunities that come in from that? Like, I'm super curious of how, and I'm sure everybody else is who's listening. So again, Mark Johnson, Forbes Technology Council writer. Everybody sees those and they're like, how do you do that? And then Fast
Yep.
Company as well. So, how did you do that and how is it helping you?
Yeah, so really Forbes started it's a invite only council, and they reach out and they say, you know, hey, we've seen some of your content. We want to, you know, encourage you to apply. Then you apply and you go through their phases of interview, and then you get you know, brought onto the council. And so
Wow,
really it just affords you the opportunity to write for Forbes and for Fast Company, which for us has really helped with third party, you know, third party credibility, which is a big
sure.
thing because you're saying ideas and you don't really know if they're oftentimes how they're going to be received in the marketplace. And so to have a group like Forbes and Fast Company kind of stamp their approval and say, yeah, we, you know, these are good ideas or these are things that leaders should pay attention to. And so we try and write about one article a month, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the, you know, the trends and the interest. But, you know, right now it's trends in AI and quantum, and you know,
Mm.
I just wrote one on brain computer interfaces, which is, you know, connecting the brain to the, you know, computers, and just all these trends that are going to help people. So that's our goal, is really write with leaders in mind, and try and create some analogies for them and help them grow.
Yeah, doesn't Elon Musk have a company for brain
Neuralink. Yeah.
Neuralink? Right, right. You just wrote
Yep.
about that? That's cool.
We just wrote about that. Yeah. So we kind of likened it back to, remember the Wright brothers?
Sure.
Back, you know, the first flight. We kind of liken it back to, um, you know, Elon's company is great, but they've got all the media on their side. They've got all this money, and there's going to be these other players that actually learn how to fly first. And so I think he's got a concept that's initially been out there, and it's in the world, but watch out for these smaller players because they're
Yeah.
really truly trying to solve for, you know, people with accessibility and disabilities, and so it's going to be cool to see it get rolled out.
Nice. So in terms of your company, so you said you have 50 people, you've been in business, you know, a while, like almost 15 years or over 15 years. What are some of the biggest challenges, right? The biggest challenge you faced in growing your company and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think right now, the big challenge, so with growth, with anything like that, is there's always really spikes in supply and demand. And sometimes, you know, we basically have to, you know, serve our clients with whatever they need, and it can be custom teams. And so
Hmm.
sometimes you need more, you know, development, and you need less design, and other times you need more design, less development. So really trying to put together those product teams that are going to match what our clients need. And then it's a lot of referral in this work. So once you do a excellent job for a C-level or a VP at one company, they're going to go to the next company, and they're going to try and bring you with them because they really like working with you. And so the more that we can show that, putting their interests above our own, and being able to serve them well is kind of how we get repeat business.
Nice, nice. So in terms of your company, 50 people, talent, talent, people, how do you approach that for your organization? And what's important to you about talent and about people?
Yeah, so we have an excellent team. Like I said, you know, Josh, my business partner, is the managing partner, and I'm the partner. And what we're able to do is he and the team are able to really put together product teams that are helping our clients be successful. So we hire, you know, for things like humility and things like you know, smarts, and things like, you know, being able to have a hunger to solve problems. And that, of course, is Patrick Lencioni's
Mhm.
ideal team player book, which I encourage people to read. But yeah, it's really looking for those people that are able to be easy to work with our clients, and that helps us be successful.
Yeah, we are totally blowing through this podcast here. So in terms, we're gonna go over time. So in
Yeah.
terms of advice, right? Two or three best pieces of advice, right? So a lot of people listening to this right now, they're earlier stage, they're smaller companies, right? That's where a lot of my listeners come from. What are two or three biggest piece of advice that you would give them?
Yeah, I think, part of what I've learned in kind of advice giving is just the generic, advice is less helpful. And so trying to get really specific about what they're trying to accomplish, I think is often good. And so what I'll do, and I did this just a few weeks ago with some executives, is we just had them take down a blank piece of paper and write down everything that was on their mind at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we started the meeting, we had them set that aside. That way it wasn't consuming them, because you have these thoughts, you have these fears, you have these anxious things that are going on. But if you're able to write them down and put them in your pocket, you'll come back to that checklist later.
Mm-hmm.
But being fully engaged in the meeting that you're in and trying to really add value, we found, especially in this digital age where you have so many notifications popping up and so many distractions, that's a really good exercise to go through and to help yourself be more present in a meeting.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you kind of blew through this when I asked you earlier, but what I'm really kind of curious about, because you're 50 people, you've been doing this for a while. Generally speaking, what's your go-to-market? What's your GTM? Like, so it doesn't sound like you do a lot of marketing, right? It sounds like you have referrals. That's kind of what I'm hearing a little bit. But again, go-to-market, how do you do that? How do you approach that for your company?
Yeah, we have an amazing team of our principals, are kind of our strategists that are at that level. They've worked with a lot of clients in various industries, and so they are also out and about, kind of growing our footprint. And we have an amazing marketing team that really helps us with all the content. LinkedIn is a powerful tool for us, just because you can get so many impressions for people that have never heard of you. And living in the comments of other companies, I think, is good. Just celebrating what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, and then allowing that to really, help you get more reach. And so, commenting on, brand pages of companies. If your ideal client is, doing something amazing in the marketplace, celebrate them for that and help them get more visibility to that. It shows you as a partner coming alongside them and trying to help them win. And it's free. You can write a comment on LinkedIn or social for free, and really help them get the word out about the good things that are happening at their company.
No, totally. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, do you have like a kind of almost like a partner's philosophy at your company? Because I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like. So I see a lot of these dev shops and even some recruiting companies, and we should talk about it offline because I'm trying to scale my company, right? I'm like, okay, how could I do it? And it sounds like you have partners, you have people that are like leaders and they're leading
hmm,
particular verticals, would you say? Like,
yep, yeah. So we have kind of the way that we're organized is we have our leadership team, which is all kind of the core departments that report up. Everyone reports to Josh, and he's able to really help steward and shepherd that team. And then each of them have core accountabilities. And then within those teams, you can break it out into, let's say it's client services. You have development, a practice lead, you have design, practice lead, and then you have delivery, which is more of the project management type work. And so really organizing around that allows them to have their area of expertise and continue to grow and learn, but also, be successful on the leadership team. We do invest a lot in professional development, so we have teams that travel a lot to conferences and learn new things. We have a team right now that's traveling internationally to really learn some new concepts in iOS, and so they'll be back, I think, on Monday. But just going off to learn, and really, that's an investment for us. But for them to be able to come back and share that with the rest of our team has been really valuable.
nice. So Mark, I got to tell you, so you take the most succinct award, right? So Mark, so when you do these, right? I don't know if you ever did a podcast. Some people just you ask them a question and they literally go on for like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, all right, just let them go. Mark, the most succinct podcaster
Yeah.
on the SaaS Pulse Show. You want
Yes.
answers? You want succinct answers? You go to Mark
Yes.
Johnson. You go to Mark Johnson for succinct answers. So, Mark, it's so awesome having you on the show. We're going to have a little bit more time to debrief here. So, looking forward to following your journey, building a relationship with you. And thanks a lot for being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Michael. Appreciate it.